the passage from Whispers from Eternity, Yogananda's book of prayer demands. And one of his prayer demands is, or poems, was when I'm gone, read my whispers from eternity. Eternally through it I will speak to you. Tune us that we may hear thy voice. Volumes of thy Savior voice resound through the loudspeaker of every loving heart. The voice of thy wisdom roams through the ether of space, seeking everywhere hearts that are tuned to ecstasy. Sadly, thy warning sermons pass unheard by souls deafened with the static of sense pleasures. O divine broadcaster, tune our souls, long distracted by the static of our indifference. Fine-tune us with the delicate touch of soul perception. Grant us the privilege of hearing thy magic melodies in the ecstasy of divine awakening. Such a wonderful poet Yogananda was. Just move this a little bit so I can see my notes. Well, this is kind of a momentous occasion for me because I've been quarantined for 3 months, and it feels a little bit like, kind of a bear hibernating and kind of peeking, seeing a little bit of daylight outside the cave and going out and stretching my wings and driving down here from Boston and driving through Providence. I just felt so different because I've been, in pretty much one place. And it's a good time for introspection. So I imagine that all of us have been doing a fair amount of that. What does this mean? What is the future? What's going to happen? What do? I know I have been. And my life as a traveling minister, minstrel, kind of seems a little not the right timing. So it's been an interesting journey. And this passage of falling, we all have our moments. Judas was like, he was the star pupil of how to fall. Or not how to fall, but here he was, one of the chosen ones, one of Jesus' 12 apostles, disciples. And because he was in his head and, just was thinking about material things more than the spirit and the essence, that was his slippery slope. But for all of us, it's something. And we don't even really have to talk about that because it's just part of life. God gives us the strength, and as in the affirmation, the introspection affirmation, so to help us to learn and grow. And the big thing is to pick ourselves up and continue on. And we've all been able to do that many times, but how much are we able to actually walk away from our failures? That's what I'm been introspecting about these last week or so as I was thinking about this topic. And so one thing I just want to start with is Swami Kriyananda has been such a perfect example of pretty much everything for me. And since moving out to Ananda village in 78, and I've been so blessed to spend time with him with music, and I've watched, especially with music, and I've watched him make big mistakes with his own songs, and there's this sense of like, just a split second, but then he's like over it, gone on, and you don't even remember it happened. So he would not hesitate to, just start a song over again, just to, instead of muddling, he just did everything so graciously. Most of all, as a example of discipleship, that has been the greatest gift. And again, when we look at people's hardships and what Jesus went through, of course, in his life, especially at the end, and also Swami Kriyananda, and Master Yogananda had a lot of similar hardships too in his organization in LA. It's fascinating. Los Angeles refers to self-realization in the early days. A very, betrayal and accusations and sensational journalism, and it was crazy. And but look at what remained strong through that is these teachings, and we have so much. Just it seems like at our fingertips, so many ways to help lift us up when we fall down. So that's what I'm most interested in looking at, is how to lift ourselves up. And I've had 1 or 2 moments where I really was in these last few months where I was like, okay, I can feel myself going, the wrong way, and just grab it and shift it and use that momentum to try to pull you back up. Now, there are a couple of many inspiring people and stories of people, I'm sure, especially during these times. But there are 2 that come to my mind right now. One is a young woman. I was actually in Hawaii working on as building retreat center in the Big Island of Hawaii, and there was a little 12-year-old girl who was out surfing. Good surfer, her whole family is surfers, and she had her arm bit off by a shark. And her name is Bethany Hamilton, and I followed her since then. And she now is still a professional surfer. She was out surfing a month later, and which is astounding, with 1 arm. I mean, if you've ever surfed, just paddling and trying to get up with 2 arms anyway. And now she's professional, amazing, and she's also a devout Christian. Her family homeschooled their kids, and so they surfed a lot. And so she's an inspiring person. She has 2 children, and she looks so natural, wearing this cute little strapless thing with just kind of a stub of an arm. So the way she was able to pick herself up with a tragedy like that is inspiring. And one that I just read about last night is this 11-year-old girl named Sky. I can't remember her name, and I actually have the quote, which I'm going to get from my phone. There it is, just one moment. This little girl is preparing for the Tokyo Olympics in skateboarding, 11 years old. Her father's British and her mother is Japanese. I think she was born in Japan. And I think I read that she's like top 3 skateboarders, 11 years old. So she was training with Tony Hawk, who is, I'm not a skateboarder, but I know people who are, and I know some names. So Tony Hawk in LA, and she had a horrific accident. And so she flew off the end of the half pipe and landed on her head, and she survived, but they didn't know she was going to. So this is what she said from her. I watched the little video from her hospital bed with one side of her face kind of swollen, 11-year-old. I don't usually post my falls or talk about them because I want people to see the fun in what I do. But this was my worst fall, and I just want everyone to know that I'm okay. It's okay to fall sometimes. I'm just going to get back up and push even harder. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now, and I want everyone to know that whatever we do, we've got to do it with love and happiness. So she's a very talented and wise 11-year-old. Let me just take a quick look at my notes here. So I think the important thing is to not identify with our mistakes. We're all human. We all have our highs and our lows, and some people are able to, bounce back from their lows with astounding strength and use what they've learned to help others. That's been many inspiring people throughout these last few months, especially, that have come into the radar. So another way to help yourself to pull up, is with service, and not to think about yourself, to do something for somebody else. And music, of course, that has been my great gift during these times, because I've been fortunate to be doing online sing-alongs and chanting sessions. I have 3 of them. So, 3 times a week, I know I'm having a big dose of singing this music, Swami's and Master's music, with my friends from all over the world. And to me, this is the greatest, one of the greatest blessings of this whole event, this whole pandemic. So let's see. The other thing, of course, is meditation. Now, that's the most important thing. It's a cornerstone. Attunement, discipleship, all of these things are nurtured, sense of rising above things. All of these things are nurtured and watered and expanded during our times of meditation. So even if you don't meditate regularly, even if you just catch 5 minutes where you're like, now I don't know about you, but I've actually been busier during this time than I have in a long time, and I know many people throughout Ananda who say the same. Because everything is switched to online, there's so many more opportunities to serve and to help during these times. So, but anyway, just do what you can and dive deep when you have those moments. And if you can't meditate, because maybe sometimes your mind is too restless, then yes, put on some music. And I have lots of suggestions. You can contact me. I've actually started writing a book about this, but the different songs and what they can be used almost like a remedy for. And Swamiji had different songs. He already has a list of that, and so does Yogananda for his chants, and maybe you've seen those. So I'm not saying that I'm discovering those concepts. I have a lot of experience with using the music as a powerful healing tool, and as a tool for transformation, personal transformation. I think we need all the help we can get. And so I just want to thank you all for joining us here. And I'm going to sing a couple of songs, and then we'll have our Festival of Light. Just one moment while I get the music and my guitar. Now, before the song starts, we have our offertory.